Okay, so shall we start? Okay, we'll start. यस्मात् जातं जगत् सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदं धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम बीशास्माद्वातः पवते बीशोदेति सूर्यः बीशास्मादग्निश्चेन्द्रश्च मृत्युर्धावति पंचम इति सैषानन्दस्य मीमागुंसा भवति। युवा स्यात् साधु युवाध्यायकः आशिष्टो धृढिष्ठो बलिष्ठः तस्येयं पृथिवी सर्वा वित्तस्य पूर्णा स्यात् स एको मानुष आनन्दः ते ये शतं मानुषा आनन्दाः स एको मनुष्यगन्धर्वाणामानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं मनुष्यगन्धर्वाणाम् आनन्दाः स एको देवगन्धर्वाणाम् आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं देवगन्धर्वाणाम् आनन्दाः स एक पितॄणां चिरलोकलोकानाम् आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं पितॄणां चिरलोकलोकानाम् आनन्दाः स एक आजानजानां देवानाम् आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं आजानजानां देवानाम् आनन्दाः स एक कर्मदेवानां देवानाम् आनन्दः ये कर्मणा देवानपि यन्ति श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं कर्मदेवानां देवानाम् आनन्दाः स एको देवानाम् आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं देवानाम् आनन्दाः स एक इन्द्रस्यानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं इन्द्रस्यानन्दाः स एको बृहस्पतेरानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं बृहस्पतेरानन्दाः स एक प्रजापतेरानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य ते ये शतं प्रजापतेरानन्दाः स एको ब्रह्मण आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामहतस्य स यश्चायं पुरुषे यश्चासावादित्ये स एकः स य एवंवित् अस्माल्लोकात् प्रेत्य एतमन्नमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रामति एतं प्राणमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रामति एतं मनोमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रामति एतं विज्ञानमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रामति एतमानन्दमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रामति तदप्येष श्लोको भवति. So this is this long Brahmananda Mimamsa, the inquiry into what leads to Brahmananda. What is this equivalent of Brahmananda? So after all these discussions on Panchakosha, where we went up to Anandamaya Kosha, so that is called Kosha Ananda. It's a capacity constrained Ananda, if you have to use a word like that. Then of course we talked about origin of the universe, we talked about Upadana, Nimitta, Karana, 7 reasons of proof for existence of Brahman. All these discussions were there. And finally the Shruti in the 2nd chapter, Brahmanandavalli, has come into this inquiry into Ananda, this so-called Brahmananda. And the reason for that is it is trying to answer the other question. What happens to the person who knows Brahman? That question has not been answered. So what happens to the person who knows Brahman? So in trying to answer that question, there is this inquiry into the Ananda, the Brahmananda. So last class towards the end of the class, I was trying to establish this Brahmananda versus Koshananda, because Anandamaya Kosha is the 5th layer. So that is a Koshananda. So we were just talking about what is the difference between Brahmananda and the Panchakosha, in which we are also say Anandamaya Kosha. And we said Brahma Pucham Pratishta in that. The base of that is Brahman itself. So that is what we said. And we were here. So I think we just talked only about the first one. So just to go back a little bit on that. So this Atmananda or the Brahmananda, which is the ultimate Ananda, vis-a-vis this Anandamaya Kosha Ananda that we are talking about. So there are 4 parameters which separate these two. The first one is Bimba versus Pratibimba. So I was trying to explain that an image can never be the original. Image is a manifestation, so reflection or manifestation. And while it might capture the substance, it may not be able to capture the entire spirit of it. See, you can see your image on the mirror, but you cannot talk to the image. You have to talk to the original. So like that, an image is a version, is a certain reflection of the original. So Koshananda is a reflection of the original, and moment we say it is a reflection, then there is a reflecting medium, and that reflecting medium is this substratum called Manas, in which Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, these 24 elements is the substratum which enables the reflection. As much as you need mercury on a surface for the functionality of the mirror to happen, then the images get reflected. In the same way, this Purusha by itself cannot reflect, so it requires that medium which comes through Prakriti, which is those Buddha, Chitta, Ahankara, and Manas, and the Karmendriya, Jnanendriyas, Panchabuddha. Together all these create that medium for reflection. So that is the first difference between the Ananda that we experience, which of course draws from that. So it draws only from the original. Image cannot draw from anywhere else. It has to draw from the original. So image is an offshoot of the original only. So that's the first property, bimba versus pratibimba. The second is nitya versus anitya. See, the ananda that we go through at our level is, it belongs to the anitya. It is a roller coaster. Sometimes there is this stretch of happiness, sometimes this happiness stays. In fact, every day, during deep sleep, we have that 3-4 hours of Brahmananda. Then it goes. That is the nearest we go. Then it sort of withdraws, get into varying levels. So therefore, this another difference between the Ananda that we all experience in our kosha vis-a-vis the Brahmananda is the property of Nitya versus Anitya. So what it means is, if you break a mirror, it doesn't mean that the object is gone. The reflection is gone. The object can never disappear. Because the reflecting medium was not there, maybe we, ignorant child will come to a conclusion that the object is gone. People who are a little aware of this property of reflection and it is after all an image and all that, there is no problem for them. So the medium can destroy. That's why the Nitya and the Anitya comes. So if the medium destroys, then that reflection of Ananda will also destroy in that medium. But in no way means that Ananda does not exist. So the Nitya and the Anitya is the second dimension which separates this repository of Ananda called Brahman and this small portion of Ananda which reflects in each one of us. We do have our quota of Ananda, but that is transitory, that is varying. So the third thing is the gradation. The issue of gradation. There is a difference between absolute and relative, which is the degree of gradation. See, in Sanskrit they use the word Taratamya. See, the word Taratamya comes apparently, see, Tara is comparative, Tama is superlative. So Taratama Bhava is one which is in a measurable scale. We say, Kanishta Taraha, Kanishta Tamaha. The youngest is Kanishta Tamaha Putraha. Maybe they say there are 3 sons, Kanishta Tara, then there is a 4th son and all that. Jeshta Tara, Jeshta Tama. So this Tara and Tama, moment you use the word Tara and Tama, there is a certain measurement yardstick we are bringing. So that's called Taratamya. It is a Taddita. It's a Taddita actually in Sanskrit. That it is a certain way, a bhava which makes itself available for a comparative kind of thing. That's why we use the word Taratamya. We use the word Taratamya in our other languages also, which means it's a very comparative, very relative kind of a thing. So the Koshananda is actually, so the other word is Saatishaya and Niratishaya. Niratishaya is beyond comparison. Saatishaya is there is something to which you can compare. So that is another way to understand. So this Koshananda it has levels of gradation. So one can say I have reached ecstasy, or one can say I am happy. So Moda, Pramoda, all those are only, that's why in Koshananda, Sasya Moda Eva, Uttara Pakshaha, Pramoda, Uttara Pakshaha, Akasha, Atma, all those we saw. In Koshananda, it used the word Moda and Pramoda, because they are gradation. Preeti, Moda, Pramoda, these are all the words we used. It merely shows the Ananda that we experience at a certain level of mortality that we are in is subject to a certain kind of a gradation. Whereas this Brahmananda is nothing but Ananda. There is nothing like gradation. It is like saying that a seed will germinate thousands of seeds. Thousands of seeds will germinate thousands of seeds, so 1000 power 1000. But the vitality of the 1000 power 1000th offspring will be no different from the vitality of the parent. Because that shows that is the God particle there. So the God particle, these are all the properties of anything divine. Anything which is divine will be the bimba, not the pratibimba. Anything which is divine will be nitya but not anitya. Anything which is divine will be niratishaya and niranubhava. See, you cannot see your eye. We cannot see our eye, we can only see the image of the eye. Nobody can see their own eye. I can see somebody else's eye. I cannot see my eye. I think it's not going to work. In the same way, this, it is sarvavyapi, it is everywhere, it is advaita. So there is nothing like seeing. It is, it is not an object. Moment you say I am seeing, then it should be in the domain of object. Then there is a subject which is seeing the object. When it is sarvavyapi, when it is everywhere, how can you objectify it? You cannot objectify it. So that's why it is niranubhava. Meaning, what I mean by niranubhava is, it doesn't lend itself to experience, it is experience itself. It is not lending itself to experience. It is nothing but experience. There are two different words. Experience is different from saying experiencing. It is nothing but experience. Then what experience are you talking? Experiencing it. That's not going to work. So this kind of difference is there. So why I am saying this, this whole discussion is about Brahmananda Mimamsa. So the way the Shruti has proceeded, it's a very long passage but a very interesting passage. It's all taking 10 power 2, 10 power 2, like that it is going. Manushya eka manushya anandaha, shatam manusha anandaha, gandhara deva manushya gandhara vanam anandaha, te ye shatam manushya. So 10 power 2, 10 power 2, 10 power 4. Like that it is taking a particular thing, because all these intermediate stages are gradation. So it is figuratively trying to show all that. So we will see that thing that it is talking about in terms of now this ananda that we are all experiencing in whatever way, and whatever glimpse of time, whatever gradation, whatever intensity, whichever way we are experiencing, the antithesis of that, which is we are not experiencing, all these happen because that we have an apparatus called mind. So it is manasasya samadhanaha bhavati anandaha bhavati. If manas is in a mental equipoise, that's the English word they use. If it is in a sense of equipoise, then there is this possibility of experiencing that bliss. If it is not in that sense of equipoise, then experiencing this bliss is challenged to that extent. So the question is, how do we get that equipoise? How do we get that equipoise is the question. Now we don't have to go outside. We have our own experiences to find out what causes that mental equipoise or that bliss. Not the mental equipoise, the bliss. Because in deep sleep, there is this ultimate ananda which we have experienced, about which we are not aware. Unfortunately, we are not able to have an awareness as it is happening. We are able to reflect it after we rise from the sleep. Said, we had a very good sleep. I am a bundle of energy. I have woken up as a bundle of energy because I have recharged myself completely and so on. Now, if you look at that, in that situation, what has happened is we have discarded all these apparatuses and kept at one level. We have just made it non-existent. That is called Sushupti. Only in Sushupti all the apparatuses have been discarded. In Swapna also, we have discarded only the physical body. We have kept the mental, the Sukshma Sarira is active in Swapna. Only in Sushupti we have discarded the entire apparatus out of us. So if you look at it, then there are, in fact, theoretically speaking, how do you bring this mental equipoise, or how do you balance this mind so that it will let me experience that joy? This is the question. Now theoretically speaking, there are two ways to do it. One way to do is to say that let me adjust the outside world so that my mind does not get disturbed. See, mind is getting disturbed on account of some reason. And the moment the mind gets disturbed, then this notion of ananda is slipping out of us. So one theoretical possibility is to say that let me find out what is disturbing my mind and sort it out, fix it. That's one method. Theoretically I am speaking. Now if you look at chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, he starts by saying amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshantihi, arjavam, acharyopasanam, shaucham, atma vinigraham, shaucham, all those are 20 values. Through that, Krishna very nicely, the Value of Value books talks about it so powerfully. Swami Dayananda Saraswati's book, so powerfully it talks. He very clearly showed trying to fix the outside world is not going to happen. Kshantihi, just take one idea, kshantihi. Why did Krishna talk about kshantihi? Kshantihi is actually developing a sense of accommodation. Don't expect others will give you respect. Don't expect others are going to recognize what you have done. That's a manitva. So he says, don't do that. Quote amanitva. If you are going to lead a world, lead a life in which when you do a good thing, people are going to say you have done a good thing, and with that expectation you are going to work, there is a good chance you will get upset. Because there is no legal requirement that I should tell you have done a good job. In fact, I would tell that I will not tell that you have done a good job to make you feel bad also. That much I will go. So this world, as I very frequently say, in the world we have actually given the remote control to all of them. We have given our peace of mind as a remote control to every one of them. They can now start pressing the button. So they will press the button, so they will decide whether I am happy or not. They will tell some sentence about which they should feel upset, but I will feel upset. This is very illogical, but that's what we do. He tells something bad about me which I am not. Please tell me he should feel bad or I should feel bad. I am not. But he said something, blatantly something about me. Our normal tendency is we feel bad. In other words, he has pressed a red color button in the remote control called peace of mind. He doesn't want to press the green color button. So I think that method is not going to work. Trying to say, let me fix the outside world so that my mind will remain, is actually trying to do something which is impossible. We will prove ourselves totally wrong. We will be an utter failure in life. Many people are trying it. Ignorantly they are trying. They think somebody will respect me, somebody will give me respect in the society, somebody will acknowledge what I have done, somebody will recognize my good things. When I give respect to somebody, somebody will give me respect. All these are wasteful effort. Because there is every chance that you don't have control. And setting yourself into that path is making yourself vulnerable. We seem to be very engaged in this process. Why we are doing, we will have to think. So therefore that possibility is ruled out. So the next other possibility is to say, why do you work outside, work inside? That is called amanitva and adambitva and kshanti and shaucham and all the 20 values are so beautiful. It's a very graded 20 values. Ishta anishta upapattishu. Because upapattihi may be ishta or anishta. Ishto nishto upapattishu. That's what he says. Anything will happen outside. So the second possibility is work inside. Let outside anything happen. Can you not work inside? Can you not start collecting the remote control? It is saying I will collect all the remote control back. Since you don't have a remote control, you cannot press the button. And or you press the button, I remove the battery. Or removing the battery from the remote control, let us say. You keep pressing the button, signal is not reaching me. Which is an internal process. The battery is inside. Looks like the battery for the remote control is inside. So why can't we do like that? Why can't we address the world inside and say that I will work on that? So the Shruti is actually saying that is the only way you will get happiness. Somewhere it is coming there. So in this long mantra, there is one pada which is repeating again and again. Shrotriyasya chaka mahatasya, Shrotriyasya chaka mahatasya. It is coming again and again and again. We will see what it is pointing to this possibility. He says you have to do it. Don't do that. Try the other one. You will prove yourself to be totally wrong and waste a lot of your energy and will be a defeated person at the end of the day in our life. So it is actually saying this. So we will see that. Well, this is in Ekadasha Skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a nice story actually behind it. There is one Brahmin, and the Brahmin had two sons. So this person was so lobby, and he, even to his sons, he was so cruel in terms of he will not give up his money and all that kind of there is a background to this Brahmin. This is all what was happening. As bad luck would have it, once I think there is a sort of an adversary which he goes through, and once the table has turned a little bit, including his both the sons, they throw him out of the village. The villagers also hate him. He is such a cutthroat person. They just throw him, and even his own sons completely abandon and disown him. So this Brahmana goes to the forest, and then this is a life-shaking event for him. So he gets very evolved, because sometimes shocks and crises can put us to a path of deep contemplation and so on. So after a long time, he returns back to the village. Very reformed person. After a long time, he returns back to the village. The village actually, chases, including the son, chases him away. They don't want him. They chase him away. This is the background story. At that time, the shloka comes. He says, Nayam janome sukha dukkha hetuhu. So now this Brahmana says, none of them are responsible for my sukha and dukkha. He says no. And evolved person now comes back and says, Nayam janome sukha dukkha hetuhu, na devata, na atma. The na you have to add to everything. For the meter, the na is not repeated. When you interpret it, it says, Nayam janome sukha dukkha hetuhu, na devata, na atma, na griha karma, na griha, not these navagrahas, na karma, not my pura karma, na kalaha. People say the time is not good. Or, kala, even that, the notion of kala. He says, Manaha param karanam amananti. I will attribute sukha and dukkha. He has finally located what is the source for sukha or dukkha. We have been wasting our time looking around. Because quite common, we say, he spoiled my mood. Nobody can spoil my mood. I have to decide that my mood must get spoiled. Nobody on earth can make you unhappy. I think we have to reflect on this idea. This is a very serious idea. We have to reflect on this idea. Nobody can make us happy, nobody can make us unhappy also, either ways. That's why we say, time is not all right. Today, between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, there are some so-called divine channels. You should see between 2 o'clock and 4. Some days I am at home, and sometimes somebody, my father or somebody sometimes puts on the TV, I see. 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock to 2:30, somebody will come and say that I will now do he say, whatever question, yesterday I said, day before yesterday, whatever you say, he say 3 generations back some snake bit you. He has a snake treatment now. One fellow comes and half an hour talks about it. Anything people ask, he says 7 generations before snake hit, 4 generations, like he is only snake dimension. Another person talks about only this, stones. Another fellow talks about Vastu. Like that, there are many things. So we attribute all these. This Brahmana says, he says, Manaha karanam amananti. If you destroy your mind, what does he says? Samsara chakram parivartayet. Etat. You will get into the cycle of samsara only when you preserve your manas. If you throw it, destroy it, Bhavasagara is over. That's what he is saying. He is saying, Manaha param karanam amananti, samsara chakram parivartayet. Yat. Parivartayedyat. In Sandhi it is like that. This manas is the one which is going through this chakra again and again and again. So you throw the mind, you make it a non-entity, your sukha and dukkha will go. So this, what is told in this entire Brahmananda Mimamsa, this shloka is covering. That's why I like, there is one Swamiji who keeps reciting this shloka every time. So I have memorized this shloka. Yeah, this one Harirapura Mat Swamiji, so beautifully, with a lot of music he recites this shloka. So I by-hearted this shloka, I remembered. This captures this Mimamsa. Brahmananda Mimamsa, which the Shruti is also talking about. So let's first start with enjoying, materialistic enjoyment. Let's start there. Because Shruti is also starting there. So let's find out, and Shruti is actually defining the ultimate possibility in material enjoyment. I don't think we can even reach it. It is that ideal situation that you can ever reach. It goes up to that level and then starts from there.
Unit 1.
Huh? Takes it as unit 1 itself is impossible for us, but then it goes to that as unit 1 and then starts from there. So how does it define? So it puts some 4 or 5 conditions. 4 or 5 things are uttered in that mantra. So we'll see that. First thing you need, if you have to be materially enjoy, you need, you can't be a beggar and sitting here and then, enjoy things. It's all mental tamasha. Enjoyment, you need first vastu. Samagri is required for you. Correct? So enough material wealth at disposal. I am talking about material enjoyment. So richness is a first necessary condition. You need enormous sit on 100 generation wealth. I keep receiving some of the SMSs. Mukesh Ambani from 7th floor, he goes to 14th floor to take the key, forget it, and goes to the 6th floor and something like that. So you need that kind of richness. And they say they are asking whether he is enjoying or not. That's a different question. But I am saying, you need richness. You need enormous richness to first enjoy. You need youthfulness to enjoy. If all this richness comes at 99.99 on my deathbed, I can't do anything with that. The vitality is not there. Mentally, I would have withered out. I am not even ready. It may be what is called out of sync, out of phase. When I wanted to enjoy, nothing was there. And when things come, I am not interested in enjoying. So that's the second necessary condition. All these must be there fairly at a young age.
Senses also should support.
Yeah, vitality, all those are there. No? You should be mentally ready, vitality should be there, all that. So youthfulness is another condition for this ultimate level of enjoyment. Shruti is defining all that in the mantra. I want it in English and then I'll go to the mantra. Now, if you have a lot of wealth and if you are a murka, you will actually finish it in no time. Because you don't know the mechanism of enjoyment also. It is like, in my mother tongue they say it is like giving a garland in the hand of a monkey. It will finish it off in no time. I am sure in all bhashas it is there. It is giving a nice garland to a monkey. So the wherewithal is not only necessary condition, we should have the right endowment to thoroughly enjoy it, whatever enjoyment means, for which a little bit of knowledge, education, know-how and all that may be useful. Good. In the field of materialism, if it has to be endowed properly, all do's and don'ts, all things you should know. So you should be educated. That will make it will increase the propensity to enjoy. Then you need discipline. Because without discipline, again, you may not be there to enjoy. You will get into, it will be on your road to your accident. So there is a dimension of a certain way of doing things, which I call it as discipline, or a certain sort of, sustainable way by which you can enjoy given all these possibilities in front of you. So that is the next. Then you need a sufficiently developed willpower. After some time, if you just lose this thing, then your index of enjoyment will come down. You should have that dhriti, you should have that sthairya with you, that I will go. You should have that much of endurance to enjoy and enjoy and enjoy, like yayati. You should have that kind of an endurance. A determined willpower will take you to a higher index of enjoyment. I mean, these are all, if you put all these conditions, that will be that unit we are getting near. That ultimate of enjoyment. Then, of course, you have to be strong in body, mind and intellect. There's a physical aspect to it also. With all that, if you are, at the young age, if you are not also, then it's gone. So that physical part of it, strong in body, mind and intellect. So if you put all these together, I don't know anybody would ever have all these together. But if you can put all these, Shruti is saying, you put all these things together and imagine what will be that sort of an enjoyment that this person can go through. Let's take it as x equal to 1. We'll take it as a measurement yardstick at the bottommost level. This is what it is saying. So this is the mantra. Saishanandasya mima gumsa bhavati yuvasya sadhu yuvadhyayakah Asishto dridishto balishtaha. Tasyeyam prithvi sarva vittasya purna syat sa eko manusha ananda. So what is he saying? Sa yesha anandasya mimamsa. Mimamsa is strilinga. That's why yesha, sa yesha. Sa yesha is adjective for mimamsa, which is a strilinga, akaranta strilinga. So sa yesha mimamsa anandasya bhavati. Here now let us start an enquiry on this notion of happiness, bliss, whatever you want to call it. This is how Shruti is starting. Yuva syat. He should be young. Sadhu yuva. Because if he is not good young, then he will meet accident no time. He will do all kinds of things and then he is gone. So yuva syat, first condition. Sadhu yuva. He is not only young, he is a good young person. Then only this propensity to enjoy for a longer time is going to happen. So sadhu yuva syat. Okay? Adhyayakaha. You should have that knowledge. That is one condition which I put. Adhyayakaha. He should know the do's and don'ts of how to, enjoy. Then only the propensity to enjoy can happen for a longer time. So adhyayakaha. So these three. Then asishtaha. See, asishtaha comes from ashutamaha. Ashutamaha is quick. In other words, dynamic. Basically asishtaha means one who is dynamic, a go-getter, or fast acting, industrious. You can add all these kinds of adjectives to it. It comes from ashu. So Shiva is called Ashutoshi. He will come immediately. Little bit you please him, he will come. Ashutoshi. Shiva is called Ashutoshi. Ashu means quick. So asishtaha. It comes from that root and so on. Dridishtaha. You should be dridha. Dridha in terms of willpower, in terms of body, mind, intellect, steadfastness, constancy of purpose. All those are required. No, even with that you cannot. Without that you can't enjoy. Even if it comes to enjoyment, you need all the disciplines of things. Anything that we want to do, all these are required. I always say that terrorism requires enormous tapas. Terrorism is not possible. High-tech violence requires tapas. Maybe directed towards the wrong end, that's a different thing. Success requires tapas. Definition of success may be different for different people. Ravana's notion of tapas, success was wrong. That's a different thing. But once he defined his success, he had tapas. All asuras were, next to none in terms of tapas. They unleashed that power and did nonsense and found their own end. That's a different story. That's why goodness is different from greatness. See, in Valmiki Ramayana, I mentioned it a few times in the Bhagavad Gita lecture also. Valmiki puts Ravana and Rama on the same pedestal. He says both of them are great. He says on greatness Ravana and Rama are same. Goodness Ravana is nowhere. Gone. In greatness both are same. Rama Ravanayor Yudhyam Rama Ravanayor Iva. He couldn't give a simile. In Valmiki Ramayana this comes. Rama Ravanayor Yuddham Rama Ravanayor Iva. He says Samudram Iva Gambiram both for Rama and Ravana. Anjaneya says in 49th Sarga of Sundarakanda, Samudram Iva Gambiram he says. What a Gambirya this fellow has. Valmiki put both on the same pedestal. But you will find both had greatness, one had goodness, other did not have goodness. So that's why discipline and all those are required. Asishtaha, dridisha, the drida is all, there is this knowledge, this discipline are all required for anything. But if you do the wrong thing, you can destroy yourself faster also. That is the only thing. Balishtaha, healthy. For enjoying you need a healthy body, this physical frame is also required. So Shankara Bhashya he says that his definition of all these put together as per the Shruti is one who has complete strength which is Adhyatmika and Adi Bhautika. All those, Adi Daivika he didn't say. Adhyatmika and Adi Bhautika he is fully endowed. So that part is sorted out. 2 out of the 3 Upadravas are gone. So such people can say Shanti only once enough, because the other two are taken care. It's only Adi Daivika, Adhyatma, Adi Bhautika, like that he gave a sort of a, interpretation of this Manushya. So, and what will happen to such a person? And over and above that, if a person has also Tasya, Iyam Prithvi, Sarva Prithvi, Vittasya Purna Syat. His coffins are full of money. And Iyam Prithvi, Tasya. This vast stretch of land, not 40, 50, 60 site, 50, 80, I am not talking that. This vast expanse of land, he is the Adhipati. Medinyaha Adhipati. You can say like that. Imagine the ideal unit of happiness to which Shruti is taken. So that is what it is setting the unit to measure. It says that you are, that is what it is saying. It says you are, then sadhu you are, adhyayakaha, so he is well knowledged, young, youthfulness is there, he is all that. Then he says asishtaha, dridishtaha, balishtaha. So with all that, maybe he also has sarva prithvi vittasya purna. So this is a conceptualization of, we will never reach that. That's we are all, we are maybe 1 millionth or one, for which we have so much of ahankar. That's a different issue. So we may be one, a tiny particle out of this unit of happiness which Shruti is talking.
1 by 7 billion.
1 by
7 billion population.
No, 1 by 7 billion is only a base on which I have to put a fractional power also. I don't know what is the fractional power on that. You are talking the base. I don't know the power. So, like that. So, this has raised it to such a level of happiness. And then says, this is sa eko manusha anandaha. Then it says, te yeshatam manusha anandaha. From there it says, let us now multiply it to 100 such. Take it to 100. He says, if you are able to find this level of happiness at a human level, multiply it with 100 times, then it says, Manushya Gandharvanam Ananda. That is the equivalent of the happiness at the next level. So like that, there is a long stretch. That long stretch, I will put one simple figure and then get the whole long stretch in one figure. Because that's what it is saying, then we will talk about it. So it starts with this ultimate unit of happiness, which itself is nowhere in our reach, but he takes it as one unit of human happiness. Shruti talks that. Then it said, let me multiply it by 100 times. Then that happiness will be equal to a Manushya Gandharvasya Anandaha. Te eka Manushya Gandharvanam Anandaha. That's what he says. Sa eka Manushya Gandharvanam Anandaha. Then from there it says, let us take 100 such Ananda, which is now 10 power 4 of this basic unit. We have 10 power 2 into another 10 power 2. So that is 10 power 4. Little bit of mathematics we will see. So one Deva Gandharva's Ananda is 10 power 4 of this extraordinary unit of Ananda at the Manushya level itself. So that's what the mantras are all saying this. So I am just putting all of them one after the other in a graphical form so that we get the structure and then we can start discussing it. Then Pitri Chiralokaha. Chiraloka Lokanam Anandaha. So that is another twice, 100 times of this previous level. Deva Gandharva. Then Ajana Jana Devaha. That is another 100 times of the Pitru. Chiralokas. 100 Chiralokas will make one Ajana Jana Deva. I'll explain all that. These are all there, I will explain. I wanted to just put the... Then Karma Devas. 100 of Ajana Jana Deva is one Karma Deva. So, it goes there. Then comes the Devas. We use the word Deva. There are so many other Devas we have introduced in between now. This is like saying Vice President, Joint Vice President, Associate Vice President, Executive Joint Vice President, some additional Vice President, Assistant, additional, junior, senior, extraordinary, all kinds of names. I found multinational have used the same ideas.
Senior vice president.
Yeah. UVP, IVP, SVP, then you put them in IVP or something.
Then one P.
Yes. So that is the, we are come up to P now, which is the Deva. Then Indra. 100 Devas, such Devas Ananda is one Indra's Ananda.
CEO.
Okay? Okay, CEO. Let me see how far you go.
This is board of directors.
Then 100 Indra's Ananda is equivalent of one Brihaspati's Ananda, it says. I mean, I'm just putting all of them so that it is all in place. Then 100 Brihaspati's Ananda is one Prajapati's Ananda. And 100 Prajapati's Ananda is one Brahma's Ananda. So we are talking about 10 power 20 times of an impossible unit of Manushya Ananda. Manushya Ananda itself is impossible for us because Vittasya Purna Syat, Prithvi Vittasya Purna Syat is nowhere in the reckoning for us. But even if you take it, from that 10 power 20 it has gone up to Brahmasya Ananda. Then Shruti did something. What it did is, it introduced a term in between. And this is what it meant. At every level it said Shrotriyasya Chaka Mahatasya. That Ananda is equivalent to that person. Who is a Shrotriya and who is a Akamahataha. Shrotriyaha cha Akamahataha. Shrotriyasya Chaka Mahataha. Mahatasya Tasya. So that is at every stage it inserted this. So what is it saying? It is saying that this Ananda, whatever you are saying, is the Ananda of this person also. So now we have to inquire who is this person or what is this? Which is very obvious. It's not a complex word. It has already communicated what it is. So, he is a Shrotriya and he is a Akamahataha. That's what it is. So that complex mantra which is repeating is only this graph. So we have got the structure now. This is what it is saying. Now before we get into, so let me now define all this. I looked for it, I found it in Shankara Bhashya, but then I found it in a nice shloka form in Panchadashi, so I thought I'll bring the shloka. Same thing I think Vidyaranya has put it in a nice shloka, so I have brought it in shloka. So let me define all these through the definitions he has given. He has given a definition to all these. So let's first find out who is this Manushya Gandharva or a Martya Gandharva. Both are Manushyas or Martyas. So he has used the word Martya Gandharva. So what is he saying? Asmin Kalpe. In this Kalpa, Manushya has son. That person is a Manushya. Manushya has son. Punya Paka Viseshataha. By accumulating a lot of Punya, Paka is cooking. Sajikaranam. Punya Paka Viseshataha. Gandharvatvam. Samapannaha, Samyak Apannaha. He obtained Gandharvahood on account of, these are all loyalty credit points. It shows like that. You accumulate a lot of punya, you get what is called Martya Gandharva Uchyate. So the first definition of Manushya Gandharva is one who have through karma has accumulated a lot of punya. On account of accumulating that punya, he has been elevated there. Asmin Kalpe. Kalpa is between two pralaya, right? Which is 10 power 17 human years into 10 power 17 human years. 1000 yuga cycle, then like that there is much. 10 power 17.
8.4 billion, sir. After that is
4.2 billion? Billion years. 10 power 17 human years, that much I remember. One pararda is 10 power 17 human years.
3.21 lakh years.
So there are all different numbers. Anyway, big numbers, so we can take approximations. So, in this kalpa itself, this person must have been born as a Manushya. He must have accumulated so much of punya and he became a Gandharva. Such people are called Manushya Gandharva. That's the first definition.
What does he do, sir? Manushya Gandharva means?
Gandharvas, we'll come to it. I'll just come. Then, Who is the Deva Gandharva? Deva Gandharva is one who actually Purva Kalpe, Kritat Punyat. So at the beginning of the Kalpa itself, he is elevated into a Gandharva hood. It is not promotion in between, not appointment, on appointment. From the beginning. So it is not in between. So that is the difference between a Deva Gandharva and a Manushya Gandharva. Same thing comes on Ajanaja Deva and Karma Deva, all that is coming exactly the same way. So this is what it says. Purva Kalpe Kritat Punyat Kalpa Ado Eva, beginning of the Kalpa itself, Chet Bhavet, he becomes a Gandharva, becomes Gandharva, Gandharvatvam Chet Bhavet, Tadrishaha Atra Deva Gandharvaha Uchyate. So this is the definition of Deva Gandharva, which means in the beginning of the Kalpa already they are there. They are already in that order on account of they have already accumulated so much in the previous. And then Agnishwata is one of the Pitri Devata. Adayaha, Etel. Adayaha is Adi. Adi means Etel. ... And. Right? So Agnishwatadayaha Loke Pitaraha Chiravasinaha. These are all, those who are in that kind of a world, they are all called Pitriloka or Chiraloka. Because the time it's called Chiraloka, it's not permanent as such. In a comparative sense, from ours it is permanent. Because you remember in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we saw all those calculations. 1 day of human year into is how much in celestial year, Pitri. That's why it's called Chiraloka. It's little longevity, much more. So they are called Pitrilokas, they are there. Kalpa Ado Eva, Devatvam Gataha, Ajana. It is like the Deva Gandharva. The Ajana Jana Devas are the equivalent of the Deva Gandharvas, which means at the beginning of the Kalpa itself, they have got the Deva hood, which is a much higher position actually, because it is exactly in that pecking order. So they are called Ajana Jana Devaha. Okay? Asmin, whereas in this Kalpa, because Kalpa is such a long time, we would have taken how many Janmas, I have no idea. We would have taken so much of Janmas, and if we had accumulated, we would have become Deva. We will become Deva one day. We are all bound to become Deva one day. So question of when, that we may not know. This is the path on which we are going. It's a tall order on which the whole game is being played. So those who have actually become Asmin Kalpe Eva, Ashwamedadi Karma Kritva, Mahat Padam Avapya, Ajana Devaihi Ya Pujyaha Ta Karma Devataha. These Ajana Devas will offer worship to these people who have done, Shata, Ashwamedha, all those Dharma Shastras, these details are there. How many, Vajpeya, how many, Aptaryama, Soma Yajna, and all those, we give them what kind of so it is all coming from that kind of these are all from the Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda begets us better. The entire Karma Kanda is discussing only these issues actually. So they are all coming from there. Yaha Pujyaha Taha Karma Devataha. They are the Karma Devatas. Then there are these Yama Agni Mukhyaha Devaha. There are 33 Devas. Ashtavasu, 11 Adityas. There are exactly 33. There are only 33 Mukhya Devataha. So they are referred as Deva here. They are the Mukhya Devas. So 33 of them. So Yama Agni Mukhya Devaha Syuhu. Then those who know Indra and Brihaspati are called Prajapati. There is a definition like that. Who is a Prajapati? A Prajapati is one who knows Indra and Brihaspati. I don't understand what exactly it means by that, because we have no experience and no understanding of it. I am only reproducing. In Shankara Bhashya also it is the same thing. One who knows Indra and Brihaspati is called Prajapati. Okay? It's like saying, we have the equivalent of all of that in our social life also. No, PA to Chief Minister, like that. It's a much higher position. PA to a MD of a company will be actually MBA from Wharton or Stanford or something. So it's a higher position. So the nose maybe means he is attached to the office.
They are also called as CEO office.
Like that.
They are not called as.
So Jnata Indra Brihaspati Prajapatihi. That is the definition for Prajapati. And Virat is called Brahma. He is also called Sutratma because he is a Sutratma. For this entire creation that happened, it all came from there. No, that's the Sutra. That is the Sutradhari. There is a thread through which everything came. So it's also in Vedanta literature called. So all these were defined. Who is the Manishya Gandharva, who is the Deva Gandharva, and who is the Ajana Jana Deva, who is the Karma Deva. Devas are Mukhyas. And then those who know Indra and Brihaspati, and there is a way to get into Indrahood. These are all in the other part of the Karma Kanda. So if you have familiarity of that, we will be able to understand that. One who knows Indra and Brihaspati is called Prajapati, and Brahma is nothing but Virat, which is the Sutratman. So all these are defined through those shlokas. Now, before we go further, the question is, what is this gradation indicating? Why is Shruti actually bringing a certain gradation here? It's a sort of a gradation, correct? It's a gradation, and the Ananda meter is also put into this gradation, correct? So the way I have understood, the way I was reflecting on this is the following. First of all, anybody in a higher gradation in this, to me it appears from the scheme of things that is being discussed, will be endowed with better equipments to enjoy. So which means a Manushya Gandharva's equipments for enjoyment will be better than the Devas, Manushyas. The equipment to enjoy is better. That is one possibility. In this all, we are able to relate it to our real life world also. The same thing is happening. So existence of better equipments to enjoy is one. That will create the gradation. Existence of better objects to enjoy. Indriya is there. Indriyartha is required, na? So, the celestial objects are far more, capable of generating more happiness and enjoyment than these mundane, mortal objects here. That is very much possible. So, existence of not only better equipment to enjoy, existence of better Puranas, they are all. So, I'm only reflecting from that only. I'm coming here. So the celestial dancers, Puranas again and say our dancers are no match to them. You bring the best models here, they are no match to them. So that is what is being indicated in this gradation. So you have better equipments to enjoy, better objects to enjoy, okay, and ability to get qualified to this level to enjoy. That's also required, na? You can't walk into the Bangalore club. You need a membership. You can't enter into the lounge, Jet Airways lounge in the Kempagoda International Airport. For many things there is a qualification also. So there is a qualification which entitles you to these objects and these equipments. See, the moment you pay a club membership, there are some gadgets which you can use. Otherwise you can stand out of the window and then keep looking at through the window. The level of enjoyment is different between these two, obviously. So, ability to get qualified to these endowments maybe by better acts, they are all discussed elsewhere. Because Shruti doesn't want to divert into all those things. But I want to make that connection. And longevity is of a different scale. Which Einstein's theory of relativity also is something similar. Longevity is of a different scale. 1 day of you, 1 month of you is the 1 day of a Pitraloka. 1 year of you is the 1 day of the celestial God. So the longevity is of a different order. So, in fact, that is why it is putting a gradation here. So this gradation is actually indicating, and it is actually bringing a fundamental truth of life. Because we see all these everywhere. You take this institute. You have a class 4 employee, this is a government institute. We have a class 4 employee, we have a class 3 employee, class 2 employee, and then class 1 officer. If a class 1 officer falls sick, he is entitled for a deluxe ward, private ward. A class 4 employee is entitled to get into the hospital, but a general ward. This is similar. And why it is that? Because somebody is more qualified, somebody has more responsibility. The CEO has all the power to spend. Nobody will ask him, he will only moderate others' expenditure. So that what we see in our personal life is only it is showing us that it is being used here. This is one reason. Another reason is this is a very deep concept. Shruti is not going to get into it. I am also not going to get into it because that will distract us. The question is, how do you get mukti? This is a question. So there are two paths. One is called Krama Mukti. Another is called Videha Mukti. This is the Krama Mukti part. This is the path for Krama Mukti. If Krama Mukti has to happen, this is the order. It's very elaborately discussed in Puranas and Karma Kandas. Krama Mukti is out of Karma Kanda in a big way. Better, you do better things, collect a lot of punya, and on account of collecting a lot of punya, you will go to the next level and exhaust all the punya. When you come back, because your vasanas are already tuned in it, you have a propensity to only collect more and more credit. When you do it, your credit exceeds much more, you will go to the next level. This is like this video game. You know, basic, beginner, expert, advanced, something like that. So you do more and more of these. So, I am just using a contemporary thing so that we get an imagination of what it is. So it is that kind of better acts, yajnas, and the karma kanda which has endowed a lot of things. So that is what it is showing through this thing. Whereas a Videha Mukti is sitting in the middle. Shrotriyasya Chaka Mahatasya is one who will get Videha Mukti. And we'll see it. We'll just, huh?
Imagine one day in Brahmaloka you have to spend.
Huh?
Like eternal punishment, you are stuck there. Right?
But your your entitlements are also so good, you don't mind. Otherwise, nobody will become the head of the institution here.
It looks scary from
Okay, we'll stop here, 7 o'clock. We'll continue. Next week, I am traveling. So we will not have the class next week. We'll anyway put it into the Practical Vedanta website. This December 21st, anyway, we will send today or tomorrow, we will send the flyer so that, and we'll also put a Google Sheet so that people can. Okay. Okay.
This Pitraloka